Spurs on paper look like they're going to be a pretty good team, but should Spurs fans kind of temper their expectations?
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Happy Friday. Welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're doing the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kim's Five San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope you're having a great day. End of the work week. Getting ready for you and that's weekend that's coming up. Hope you had some good plans ahead of you guys. You're going to have some fun, but be safe as always. And we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Friend available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kim's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Subscribe. Get those numbers up. We definitely appreciate y'all being the everydayers. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA. That'll get you $20 off your first purchase. What are we talking about today? Well, tempering fan expectations, right? Now, we're not trying to rain in the parade here. Not at all. You have every right to be excited. The fan base does. I mean, how many years of no postseason appearances has this team been through? But with that comes expectations. Should Spurs fans keep them high or just kind of temper them and be like, okay, it's good that they're making right moves, but let's see how that works. So we're going to look at that aspect. Should fans kind of lower expectations or not? And then catch up to Spurs news. Spurs have signed a new guard officially, so we're going to talk about him. And then talk about the new murals that y'all can go check out if you're in San Antonio or you're visiting San Antonio, make it a destination spot for you and your family. Get your selfies. Some new ones are popping up. Trust me, you're going to want to go in a bit. We'll tell you where to go in a bit. So let's going to bring in our guest. He is back, everybody. Mr. Raul Dominguez of the AP Sports. He's on next at Dominguez Cinco. Raul, welcome back to Locked On Spurs.
Thank you for having me.
I love how you can multitask. See, you're on press row right now, and you're sitting next to Tony Parker. I guess he came back from retirement. And Raul, you can do it all, buddy.
Yeah, well, Tony saw how good the team was, so he's trying to make a comeback. That's what it is.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, Raul couldn't do a video today, but he joined us audio, as y'all can see on your screen or listen on your podcast. Or I don't know, do they still have MP3 players? Do they still have those, Raul?
I think so. I think they do.
That's still such a thing. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they can update that, but they still have them. So.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I've been wanting? To find an old cassette tape player.
Yeah,
I've been wanting one of those.
I can't remember where we were at, but we were somewhere and they had an 8-track, and my daughter was like, that's what it was. We were at Half Price Books, and I was with my 2 daughters and my son, and I can't remember if it was my youngest daughter or my son that saw an 8-track, and they were like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah, I remember 8-tracks. I remember my dad having a box of 8-tracks, and I hope he still has them. I gotta go check at the garage at my parents' house because I bet they're like a collector's item now, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Musicians want them, everything. Yeah. Oh, the good old days, All right. So, Raul, again, thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on a Friday to close out the week here at Locked On Spurs. Now, Raul, Spurs fans, they're definitely up off their feet and on their feet right now. I mean, they're celebrating the makeup of the team, the look of the team. Wemby's coming back 100%. De'Aaron Fox had the finger surgery. He looks like he's going to be okay. They got the number 2 pick, Dylan Harper. Everything's looking like roses right now. But, we don't know what the final product will look like when the regular season starts, let alone what the team will look like at the end of the next season. We just don't know. So, Raul, going into the offseason as we're in right now, then ahead of the new season, despite all the good moves that Brian Wright has done, should the fan base just kind of chill out and relax those expectations? Because the last thing they need to do is be let down again. What do you think?
I don't think so. I think it's sort of Spurs have had so many bad seasons recently, since the final days of the big 3, and then their retirements. I don't think the Spurs have had a lot to cheer for. I think the Spurs fans are still sort of held out hope that they were going to do well, but they've had I think 2 of the 3 worst seasons in the past couple of years. So no, I say go crazy. Let them sort of enjoy sort of a fiesta. Because it's been we hadn't been a lot to celebrate. So I don't, I'm not going out on a limb and saying that the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs are going to win a title this year, but they're going to do well. So celebrate, enjoy.
Yeah, I'm with you there too. I think, for the most part, I think Spurs fans should keep their expectations high. I think that's fair. You how many years already of playoff, just play-in drought? Just start off with that. This team's gone through, but I look at this team and they're deep. Look at the guard position. We can move on, and we know the teams are loaded with guards. More on that and later. Look at the bigs. Spurs took care of that. Kelly Olynyk. You got Cornette. Talk about swing guys. You got plenty of those, from Vassell to Carter Bryant to Keldon Johnson. The list goes on and on. Keeping with the tune of keeping high expectations. How high are your expectations for this team heading to the next season?
I think they'll finish. We had talked about this before too. I think they'll finish top 5 in the West. I think there's a good chance they'll finish top 4. Just doesn't mean that there's been other young teams that have finished real high in the standings and then sort of struggle in the playoffs. Regular season and the playoffs are two different animals. Right. But I think with their energy, I think with their talent, I think you kind of got a glimpse of what they're going to be during the summer league when they were just attacking. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Dallas. They were just full on just attacking them, from baseline to baseline defensively. I think that's what you're going to see from the during the regular season. I think they have enough youth and depth to where they can sustain it for the regular season. So I'd definitely say top 5, but possibly top 4 in the West this season.
No, that's high expectation. That's a pretty big leap. Last year, they missed the play-in / playoffs, obviously. And then to jump to, at least what you're projecting is, you project a 4 to 5 range right there?
Yeah.
Or a 4 to 5 range? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a massive leap. But do you think a lot of stuff also has to happen that's beyond their control? Because to leap into that position, you're talking about teams like, obviously Thunder and Denver, they're going to be right up there, but like maybe Dallas, Houston, what other teams out there that made some pretty good moves? Maybe Portland, they seem to make some pretty good moves there. What do you think about that? You think, the how much of the West is going to be a factor in all this? Because it's going to be a gauntlet next year.
Oh, there's no question. I just think the Spurs with their the youth and the depth that they have, and then some of the experience with Cornette and Olynyk and Barnes. At times last year, they showed how strong of a team they could be, and that last season's team is, this team's maybe twice as good, 2 or 3 times as good as last year, especially after Wemby and Fox went down. I think the combination of their youth, the talent, the speed, the defensive intensity. I think having Harper and adding Harper, Bryant, and Cornette to that defensive unit, and allowing Jeremy Sohan to go back to kind of more of a natural position. I think that's really going to be big for them. Always compare them to Oklahoma City in terms of kind of what they're building. I think that's what they're going to be. So, Oklahoma City would just drown teams defensively, especially at times when they needed to. I think you're going to see that with the Spurs, and especially with Coach Sean, Sweeney coming on board. I just think that they're going to be a menace to a lot of teams. And again, I think they're young enough and talented enough to where they can sustain it for the whole season. They can move guys in and out to where you won't wear guys down.
Yeah, and look, again, on paper, this team seemingly looks like they're going to be pretty good. They could be that one team. They're going to get that label next year. You don't want to play that team in any type of play-in scenario or race for the playoff spot, something like that. And it's Spurs that they're going to be that team. Like, don't sleep on this team next year. Wemby looks like he's raring to go. He looks like he put a little more size to his frame. Is some very unusual offseason training from monks, Shaolin Temple monks and whatnot. He seems to be sharpening his mind with all the chess he's playing right now. So I think Wemby will be good to
It
go.
worked for Kareem. It worked for Kareem with the martial arts and the studying.
Right. That's right. Yeah. I'm waiting for Wemby to be in the reboot of Airplane next. That's what I'm waiting for. But yeah, again, this team is looking really good next season, and we'll see what it looks like. But is there another side to all this? Should Spurs fans lower expectations for the various factors? You know what? Let's talk about that. Yeah, let's look at the other side of it. Raul talked about why Spurs fans should be, excited for next season. Let's look at the other side. Why maybe they shouldn't and lower their expectations. Right here on Locked On Spurs with Raul Dominguez. He's with the AP Sports. Make sure to follow him on X at Dominguez5. But first of all, I talked about game time. You ever decided at the last minute to head to the ball game, meet friends, meet family? Maybe it's game day and suddenly you realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last minute tickets without the stress. With the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it all possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and easy. Prices on the app actually drop the closer you get to the first pitch. They have incredible last minute deals, clear view seats, and the lowest price guarantee. It takes the worrying out of buying. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On MLB, making it easy to browse the app for an exciting MLB game. Yeah, you have the Rangers and the Astros, so go check it out there. Oh, by the way, those seat views, you can see that right in the app before you buy, so you know exactly where you're going to be. And they got zone deals. Yeah, Game Time zone deals. They pick the best seats for you in your section, so you're going to be in good hands there. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA. That'll be for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Raul Dominguez. He's with the AP Sports. You want to follow him on X at Dominguez5. And once again, if you're all just watching right now, Raul couldn't make it on video today, so he's joining us via audio today. That's okay with me. That's okay. Raul can do whatever he wants here at Locked On Spurs, except for taking over my spot. That's the only thing he cannot do. All right, we're talking about lowering or keeping high fan expectations up as the new season comes in, and we get it. Raul pretty much detailed it clearly, right? From the players to the injection of youth to the additions, they're bringing in veteran Olynyk and Kornet. This team on paper seems good, but why should Spurs fans maybe lower expectations heading into the next season? Again, not to say this team won't be good, but maybe just for maybe their own mental insanity, don't get all like, yeah, we're going to the playoffs, and they end up like 10th or 11th and they get bounced out or for the play-in or something like that. But for me, the big one, Raul, why fans should lower expectation is this. We don't know how they'll mesh together. On paper, it looks good right now. But how will this team come together? Will the 3-guard lineup work? Will they be bumping heads? Will shifts have to be made in the rotation? What about Devin Vassell? Is he willing to come off the bench? Are they gonna have that conversation with him? What I'm trying to get at, I think you're gonna see a lot of stumbling out of the gates. And maybe they go on kind of a small losing streak and Spurs fans flip tables. And these small losing streaks to begin the season may hurt them at the end of the season when maybe things do come together. And by that time, maybe too little too late. Another reason why I think maybe fans should keep expectations low is Mitch Johnson. It's his first year coaching as a head coach. And I get it. He was the interim head coach last year for practically last season. But again, he had Popovich still in his ear. Popovich was still there. Popovich was basically his training wheels. And now those training wheels are off, and it's Mitch's team now. So maybe he's going to have to get used to being the big cheese on the sidelines. So there's that too. So you factor all that in together, and I think there's probably going to be some stumbling along the way, Raul, where that stumbling may cost them down the road next season when it comes to playoff, play-in positioning. Do I think they'll be great? Yeah, I think they're going to be really good. A lot better than last year. But I think you still got to keep those expectations high because we're still in the unknown phase. We don't know if this works. And sure, they signed a guard that can hit 3 shots. We'll talk about him in a bit. But is Lindy Waters really the answer to the cure? I mean, is it you're going to rely on Olynyk? None of the guards can hit threes as of right now. Harper, Castle, Fox, they're okay, but they're not great snipers this team needs. I think those are some reasons why I think fans should keep expectations low heading into the new season, and then get them going as the season gets going, or keep them that way because, looks like another year we're got to get this together. What do you think about that? How big is chemistry going to be involved in all this?
Chemistry is always, big, but it's one thing about the Spurs, that they've always, even from the days back in the Big Three, they still had great chemistry. I mean, you look at the what was it, the coffee gang I think they had,
I remember that. Yeah,
Raul and Thiago and Patty and Boris were close, and that translated to the court. This group is the same. I mean, that they always picture them hanging out together. I think in Vegas they were hanging out at I don't know if it was the pool or the slide or stuff. They all had their goggles on. So I think chemistry is going to be big. But at the same time, you got to have the talent with that chemistry. Because the past few seasons, I mean, that you had a really tight knit group. With Trey Jones and Zach and and Julian and Keldon and Devin, they were all really close, but they just, didn't quite have the talent to and the health to make that work. So chemistry is going to be big, but I think even more so the talent that they have.
Yeah. And another reason for me why you fans should maybe keep expectations a little low heading to the new season is, again, they're playing in the West. The West is going to be, it's going to be rough. You already know OKC is going to be likely the top team. All right, fine. But then Denver, let's say they did some retooling. Joker's Joker still. He doesn't seem any signs of slowing down or, reaching the end of his peak. There's two teams right there. We saw, Dallas. Will it work? Will Flag and Anthony Davis, will that be the kind of a new threat in the West for the Spurs? And then there's Houston. Houston's still going to be in the mix. They added KD. And then you get the other teams, too, that, at least as of this recording, seem to be ahead of the curve in the Spurs. With the Lakers, and they could still be around. The Clippers, will Kawhi play a full season of injury and, be that threat that everybody thinks they can be, or it's not going to work because they added Bradley Beal and Chris Paul is going there, and he's a shell of his former self. So I still think the West is still be an issue, and I think things outside of the Spurs' control may work against them if teams get hot, if the Blazers get going, or teams that are on the rise that are knocking on the door, they take the next step. So I think at this point, with the West being the West, it's technically still a young team, but I know they're kind of not, but they kind of are. They're not familiar with each other yet. That's what training camp and preseasons were, but we'll see how it goes when the real season begins. And technically now a rookie head coach, full-on rookie head coach, no label interim anymore. I think you got to see all that come together and then see how the Spurs are. I think we should really evaluate this team right at the midway point. At that point, you just got to say, all right, this is going to work or it's not going to work. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I understand the, sort of tempering expectations, because you're right. I mean, still a young team. You don't know what type of chemistry they're going to have on the court. There is still questions about who's going to do who's going to be the sort of the 3-point specialist, although I think they've done a great job sort of filling that role. But you still don't know how they're all going to mesh. You don't know who's going to start. You don't know who's going to come off the bench. But I just think that Spurs have done such a great job putting the pieces together, and again, there's so much hope for this team. And again, my thing is, Spurs fans, even as bad as they've been, I mean, there are times when, especially when they played, the big teams, some of the teams that they shouldn't have beaten, and they beat them. They beat Denver late in the season, they beat Milwaukee. I mean, the crowd felt like back in the old days with the Big Three. The excitement, the love, the noise level, the just everything. It just felt like a playoff game. I think that's a big thing too. Is as far as with the expectations they have, fans will be in there and they won't be just sitting on their hands. They're going to be screaming and I remember back in the day, other teams would say, coming to San Antonio is one of the places, that they, they enjoyed playing in front of them, but at the same time, like it was loud, like it felt like a playoff game, for them, the intensity, how loud the Spurs games were. So,
Right.
So I think that's part of it. I think Spurs fans should have high expectations, in order to be loud, in order to be excited in that arena, that to sort of boost this young team, sort of give them a little bit more confidence, whenever they have a great defensive stand or a dunk or a lob, to sort of build them up, because I think as we've seen the past couple seasons, Spurs, Wemby, Keldon, and Jeremy feed off the crowd.
Right, exactly. Well, again, it is still very early in the offseason. Perhaps the Spurs can make a few more moves, although I doubt it. But, I don't think they're going to make any more, like, really roster-shaking moves at this point. We got to wait till maybe the trade deadline. You hear guys' names like, is Darren Vassell going to still be here at the end of the season? Is he kind of like the, not say weak link, but, one thing that's kind of tripping things up a bit if he just comes off the bench. You heard this argument before. So who knows if he gets dealed or if he's Keldon, whatnot. There's always injury situation. So we just don't know. But hey, those are our quick thoughts about whether Spurs fans should temper expectations or not. Herbert, all I have to say is, yeah, keep them up. Keep them up. This team looks good. And you hear what I have to say. I said, well, we just don't know yet. We're still in an unknown phase how this is going to come together. Let us know what you think. You let Raul know on X at Dominguez5. Let me know on X at Jeff G Spurs Zone. And leave your comments. We'd love to hear from you, especially go on the YouTube page. Just go there, subscribe, put a comment there. We're reading the future episode of Locked On Spurs. But coming up next, we're going to catch up some Spurs news and notes. Speaking of the roster and three-point shooting, the Spurs did add a three-point shooter to the roster. Surprise, surprise. And then catch up some the latest in Spurs mural news right here on Locked On Spurs. We're back right here on Locked On Spurs, joined by Raul Dominguez. He's with the AP Sports. He's on X at Dominguez5. Follow him right now. By the way, Raul, I posed this question on X the other day. Peak Iceman Gervin playing it today, modern NBA, is 40 points at half, or that's what he's going to average for the entire season? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, I saw that. I was just thinking about all the times that Gervin just went off. I don't think he'd average 40 points a game. But I could definitely see him getting 40, 45 and a half. So maybe even in a quarter. I mean, because when he would just start rolling, I mean, some of them I heard or on the WOAI or, some I saw in person, but there was times where he was just, almost unstoppable, and the only reason why he slowed down is because back in the day, you could basically, assault somebody on the court,
Yeah.
Maybe they would call a foul, in today's NBA where a little touch foul or whatever, get to the free throw line. I mean, and Gervin was a great free throw shooter too. So I could see him getting 45, 50 and a half.
Yeah. I found that old video footage from Hemisphere Arena, and that was, I guess, late 70s, maybe early 80s in that time frame. And remember, that's still, like you said, mentioned where you can assault somebody on the court, and he's making it look easy. Like nobody had a hand in his face. He found the right spots and just jumped up and jump shot, jump up, jump shot. Oh, a little quick drive scoop. I mean, it was like freaking easy for him. I'm surprised he didn't get smacked down a lot more than maybe he should have. I'm hoping, glad it never happened, but you'd have thought like maybe Elaine Beer or at that time Gilmore, who wasn't playing with the Spurs yet, would have put him on his butt or something, but they rarely did, man.
Yeah, I think he was just so smooth. I mean, he was able to sort of get those shots off and those little finger rolls, those little flips that, just he would sorry about that. He would
Everybody, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wouldn't allow them to do that. He has such a quick jumper, and again, his ability to get those shots off was. I mean, they didn't have time to really, plow over him like to everybody else.
Yeah. All right. We're here talking all things silver and black, even entering the multiverse right now, as you heard right now. Would Gervin play in today's NBA? I think he shatters NBA records, offensive records in this modern era. I think he just shatters them. like just
Yeah.
obliterates them easy. But let's hit you up with some Spurs news that you may have missed. And we kind of talked about it earlier, but the Spurs have signed guard Lindy Waters III to the team. Now, according to the Spurs, terms of the contract were not announced, but for those who are not familiar with Waters III, he's 6'6", 210. He played 52 games last year for the Warriors and Pistons. He averaged 4.9 points per game, 2.1 rebounds, 1 assist in 15 minutes. He's been in the NBA for 4 years, and he's made stops as well as in Golden State. He went undrafted in 2020. But, Raul, I think the big reason why the Spurs brought him on is because he is a sniper. I think he's shooting somewhere upwards near 36, 37% for his career. And also for the Spurs standard, that's pretty high. But the problem is, though, is he probably not going to get any minutes considering the guard rotation right now. What do you think about the signing? Do you think it was just filler signing because they had to sign somebody?
I think it was a good signing, for the sort of the back of their bench, someone that can come in and, especially if someone, gets injured or if they need kind of a scoring punch. But, I've read where some people, talk about how he's going to get heavy rotation minutes and, he's the guy. And I think I even saw or read where someone talked about how much better he is than Julian Champagny. And Julian is, for his career, he's shooting 37% on threes, and to me, he's sort of similar to Julian, and I don't know why people sort of dog on Julian at times. Julian is a heck of a player, great shooter, great competitor, really, hustles on defense and, does all the stuff that coaches want. So, like I say, he does remind me of Julian. I think, if it comes down between those two who get some minutes, I think Julian gets it, at least, especially, at the start. But I think Lindy's a good piece to have off the bench. A guy that can come in and, shoot the threes and got great length. I think for Lindy, it's going to come down. I can't recall how he is defensively. I've seen him offensively, but I don't remember anything that stands out as far as defensively. So I think that's going to be the big thing with him is how he is defensively on the court. Because that's always been big for the Spurs. You think about something great, the great offensive players they've had and guys that can get a bucket, but struggle to get on the court, because, that they can't guard someone or they're a little bit of a liability defensively. So I think that's going to be the big thing with Lindy, is just sort of how he fits in, how he meshes with the rest of the team defensively.
Yeah, I looked it up right now. He's actually shooting for his career 36.6% to 37%. So not bad at all. Not bad at all. I think that's where he'll probably make his presence known if he can just connect on the 3-shot either training camp, preseason, or even if he gets to the G League, because likely that could happen too, and play there. We'll see. So Spurs addressed another guard position, but at least this one can hit some threes. So way to go. In other Spurs news, murals. Spurs fans love their murals. If you're not from San Antonio or never visited, pick a side of town. Seriously, you want to go to the north side? Murals. You want to go to the south side? Plenty of murals there. Want to go to the east side? A lot of Spurs murals there. But the one spot that kind of started it all was Rudy's Seafood on South Flores, for those who are in San Antonio. Now, yesterday we had the owner, Roland Ramirez of Rudy's, come on and give us kind of a history of how this all happened, what his goal was, and whatnot. Definitely a great listen. Go check it out. It was yesterday's episode of Locked On Spurs. But some new ones have gone up. We'll start off with the big one, and that's Wemby. Wemby got an upgrade. He will be wearing still the icon black jersey, but it's reflecting more of his physical development. So they made him a little thicker, shorter hair. But interestingly enough, Roland told us that when Wemby went to go see his original mural at the restaurant, he loved it. No complaints, except for one. He wanted to add a little more color to his because he saw Sohan's. If those of y'all never been to Rudy's, Sohan's was very colorful. So he wanted a little color. It looks like they're going to do that for Wemby. And Roland also, not leaked, but told us other players are going to get one. So we expect a Jones Garcia one. expect Olenek, and expect Barnes to start. So those will be the 3 new ones there. Raul, he also told me, and maybe you know, because you know Roland as well, that they're tinkering with the idea of upgrading Popovich's now that he's retired. So, what do you think about that? Should they just leave the OG? Because remember, the OG murals at the restaurant is Tim, Tony, Manu, and Pop, and I guess take the Coyote tee. Those are the original ones, and they haven't touched them since they first went up. They do they maintain them, but as far as changing them, they leave them alone. What do you think? You think they should upgrade Pops or leave it alone?
I think it'd be nice to upgrade Pop. Maybe I'm kind of thinking of the one where picture where Pops with with Tim, Tony,
That's a good one.
Manu. That'd be a nice one to have. So
Yeah.
and for those that don't know, it's like because on the front, sure, as you drive in the front, and then just as you're walking into the left, that's where the current ones. But I think a lot of people don't know if you go to the right and then even to the back of the building, they have those. That's where the OG ones are, and a lot more murals. And Roland's a huge Spurs fan, great guy, huge Spurs fan too. So he loves adding those murals up there. Fans love going over to go take pictures of them as well. But yeah, I think it'd be nice to to sort of upgrade. Maybe have a little bit even more of a tribute to Pop and kind of what he built. But it's always nice to see who he has up there. It's like, and the thing is I like about it too is he has guys up there that that you don't see anywhere else. I mean, like Julian, they had Julian up there. I think he has Devin up there. Is it Lamu, or he had now he already added Dylan Harper. He's going to add Jones Garcia. I believe he's going to add Kelly Olynyk too as well. So
Olynyk is going to be up there.
So like he Roland does a great job of adding guys that typically don't get a mural anywhere else, where you kind of have the whole team that's up there.
Yeah, and the players really appreciate it. I spoke to Mamu. By the way, speaking of Mamu, I was the last reporter from San Antonio he spoke with before his time in San Antonio ended. And what did we talk about? The mural. He had told me that when he found out about it, he sent a picture to his parents in Georgia. And I told Roland about it. I go, hey, your spot murals are known even in Georgia? He was like, for real? He was like shocked. I was like, yep, they're known in Georgia. So even Chris Paul too.
Yeah.
What's that?
And so I said they're known in France too, because when you put that up, I mean the French reporters and media and TV, they all had pictures and video of Wemby's mural on their news.
Yeah, he told me that he's just been floored by the excitement that these have started. And he kind of started it all. Now almost every spot in San Antonio has one. Even 7-Elevens have one. Even barbershops have one. Auto part dealers, they have them. They're scattered around San Antonio. And then I asked him, I go, well, are you going to go with the next step, the next evolution? He goes, what's that? Naming some of your food plates after players. And he said that there's only one former Spur has a plate named in his honor. It's George Hill. George Hill has a plate in his honor there at the restaurant, but he's toying with that idea of taking that next step. But no, I love it. The only thing I don't like though is when Spurs fans say, "Oh, everybody gets a mural," but I guess technically it's true. But you just celebrating the team. That's all you're really doing. You're just celebrating, having fun with it, and
yeah, like I said, he updates it and upgrades it. So it's nothing that unfortunately the Mabu's is probably going to be painted over, and Chris Paul's was painted over. So it's just something fun to do, and a lot of, and I know the players, once they hear about it, they love it. I mean, I know Julian went out there and took a picture in front of his mural, even had a plate of food with him, while he was taking the picture. So
nice.
It's something that players enjoy, fans enjoy. So and then one thing I noticed is that with a lot of the murals, like unfortunately, parts of the city do have problems with graffiti and stuff, but I've noticed, when it comes to those murals, they're pretty much left alone. I mean, they're held in high regard by the residents.
Yeah, absolutely. So leaving a picture of what they look like right there on your screen. So that's kind of the idea there is Fox and Castle. So if you're in San Antonio, just Google Rudy Seafood. It's on Roosevelt. Go check it out. Take a selfie there. You'll definitely enjoy it. And again, if you missed that interview, it was in yesterday's Locked On Spurs. Go check it out. Highly recommend it. Get the history of how it all started. And he talks about that French media period of time where he would just like slam with reporters from overseas there. So go check it out. And again, Raul, we thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs. We appreciate it. We have to pour one out too, Raul, for Hulk Hogan, Malcolm Jamal Warner. Who else?
Chuck Mangione. Yeah, Chuck Mangione passed away. Yeah, it's been a sad day for the pop culture and music, but yeah, rest in peace to those all those gentlemen.
Yeah. You know, when Ozzy passed away, I was at the gym. And I asked the attendant, and I go like, "Hey, you know that Ozzy passed away?" They're like, "No." And they looked there. Well, yeah, it's sad. Well, the people who run it, they're not from San Antonio. They're from California. And I told them the story about him and the Alamo situation, and how San Antonio used to be the hard rock capital of the world or the nation, I think. And then Ozzy would come here, and he was banned, and and I said everything's smooth over now, and he was welcome back. So they're like, "Oh, cool." So they ended up turning the radio on, like I guess they have like satellite radio, to nothing but Ozzy. So the whole gym was playing Ozzy music. Yeah, and then I took the remote to the big screen they have in there, and I put on YouTube and I put an Ozzy concert. So that's all going in the gym, right? Yeah. And the the guy who owns it all, he caught wind of that and he put it on his Instagram and he said like, "We're honoring Ozzy today," So that one stung for me. That's been, and all of them stung, but that one really stung the most.
Yeah, I mean, for him to have the concert when he knew he was, I'm sure he knew he was in his last days. He had the big concert, and I think 100% went to Parkinson's, and then I can't remember another charity that he had. So I mean, just great music, helping people out until the end. So, and the fact that he had the concert, even though he stopped taking painkillers just so he could be lucid enough to do the concert. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah. And I didn't know about Chuck Mangione, but for those of you that don't know who he is, you're not too young. Back in the 70s, he had like an instrumental song that was, it's like a trumpet, and that was very popular. But you may have heard of it because his character or him was featured on King of the Hill. So if you go back to watch old 90s King of the Hill shows, they have a cartoon character named Chuck Mangione. Yeah. And they have fun with that. So that's who he is. But rest in peace, all those guys. You will be missed, and thanks for the memories. And everybody else, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Ken's 5 Plus app, YouTube. You know where to go. Go subscribe right now. Raul, what are you working on this off season?
Well, same. Just kind of waiting on the Spurs to come back, waiting for training camp. Like I think we talked about last time. It seems like it's a whole year before between the summer, the end of summer league and then the start of training camp. But just waiting on that, and then UTSA football. I think they're gonna have a great season this year. So.
Yep. Absolutely. That's why you got to follow Raul on X and Dominguez Cinco. Catch up on all news, whether it's Spurs, UTSA, whatnot. He has your back. Again, at Dominguez Cinco. Once again, Raul, we appreciate it. And everybody else, we'll see you next week, Monday, for more Spurs coverage as the offseason continues. This is the slow period of the NBA offseason. This is it. We're in the thick of it. It's going to be another about 2 months-ish before things get cooking. But we'll get you through it right here on Locked On Spurs. And make sure to subscribe. You know what to do. YouTube, leave a comment. We'll read in the future episode of Locked On Spurs. So for Raul Dominguez, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.